Welcome back to Alive at 5. I'm your host, David Leonard. It's my pleasure to be joined on the phone this afternoon by B D Salerno. She is an astrologer and the author of a book entitled Forensics by the Stars, Astrology Investigates. Good afternoon, B D. Welcome aboard.
Good afternoon. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for making some time to visit with us here. At the beginning here, for a listener out there who may never ever have heard of you before, if you would, please be so kind. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh, sure thing. I was born and raised in New Jersey, and my dad was an Air Force navigator during World War II. When I was a young child, I used to go outside and look up at the sky, and I was amazed to look at all the stars and the moon and planets, and my father noticed that I used to do this. So he taught me how he used to navigate by the night sky during flight missions during World War II. And so I became captivated by looking at the constellations, learning about all the stars, and also the mythology behind them. And at an early age, it made an impression. I thought, how else are we connected to these bodies that are so many millions of miles away from us and yet can tell us where we are in terms of location on Earth and how to find our way when we're lost? So as I got older, I began to learn astrology. And at first, it was just for fun. I did readings for my friends and coworkers, but it was never really a very serious interest until one day I started to learn about what we call event astrology, which is to look at the horoscope for an event. And you can get a lot of information by doing that, and I would start to read about that. At the time, I had a good friend who was a history buff, and she was doing a term paper on the Charles Lindbergh kidnapping, which took place not far from where I lived in New Jersey back in the 1930s. So I thought one day, well, why don't I do a horoscope for that kidnapping? Let me just see what I can find out here. And I was reading up on the case, and I was working on the chart, and the information from the case and from the horoscope intermeshed so perfectly that I actually got the shivers while I was doing this work. It showed that there was involvement by the servants in the house, which the police always believed. And it showed actually that the child was physically taken and that the child was physically killed. And I started to think there must be something to this. There has been literature on the subject, and I was trying to learn more, but I just began to do my own research. So as time went on, I would hear about a missing persons case or about an unsolved crime. I've also been an avid true crime fan, so the two hobbies kind of worked well together. And I would hear about a missing person, I would do the horoscope, and sure enough, it would be confirmed by what the facts were that were available on the case. I'll give you a case in point. I cannot use any names, but a girl in Utah some years ago went missing, and she was gone for a long time, and it captured the national media. I did a horoscope, and everyone was speculating that, she must have been murdered, she was taken away, she's no longer with us. But when I did the horoscope, it looked like, from what I could interpret, that she was okay, she was alive and well. And I left it at that because I couldn't get any more information at the time. Sure enough, about a year later, this young girl was found and returned to her family. So from that point on, I was very dedicated to doing this kind of work, basically mostly in terms of missing persons and crimes. Being an amateur sleuth myself, it seems to be where I'm most interested.